The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Cowboys StoryLine with Nick Eatman.
Good morning. Welcome to Cowboys Storyline. I'm Nick Eatman. Wednesday, January 16th. This is our regular schedule now. We're finally on to the offseason. Had a couple of shows this week and last week for TV purposes on Bally. Maybe you caught it there, but obviously this is where we're on DallasCowboys.com and the podcast every Wednesday, 9:30 to about 10:30, 10:45. That'll really depend on you guys on how many calls we get. Already got a couple of callers on the line, so that is a good start. Obviously, nothing new with the coaching search with Mike McCarthy's exit, and it looks like he's going to interview with the Bears, which is what they wanted all along. And I think that shows right there that Jerry and McCarthy, at least Jerry, was interested in bringing him back. I think a lot of this is we forget that part, and we forget it with Jason Garrett too. You kind of forget that the contract is up, and so it wasn't necessarily while he's gone. Yeah, they could have made it work, and I think this is probably as close to a mutual departure as you can get for two sides. I think it's just at the end of the day, into the 5 years, it was probably just best for both sides. So now we'll see where the Cowboys move from here. A lot of names. I'm sure you guys have a lot of opinions, so we'll get to it. Let's go. Carolina. He's in Longview, Texas, so Carolina is on the move again. There we go.
What's going on, man?
How are you?
Man, it's a wonderful day to be alive. No snow going on right now, so I'm loving it.
All right. No, not in Longview. Probably not.
How you feeling, man? You all right?
I'm good, man. Good. Hanging in there. Let's go. Let's do this.
All right. So I'm glad I was the first caller so I can bring this up first. So what do you think about the call being made to Deion Sanders first? That's the first thing I want to get out the way.
Yeah.
And my second question to you is, do you believe that it was just a media stunt, or do you think that this may have some real traction?
What do you think? I'll ask you your thoughts about it.
I'm not sure, man, because I'm like,
First of all,
I've been looking at
do you like Deion? Do you root for Colorado? Do you root? I mean, you're a Deion guy?
Of course. I mean, he's a Super Bowl guy from back in the 90s. Of course I love Deion. He's a Cowboy. How can you not love Deion, man? I mean, how can you not?
Yeah.
The guy puts together good programs. He's a leader. He's respected. So, yeah, I like it. I think that will bring a different type of culture into the locker room, from my honest opinion. But do I really believe it's going to happen? I'm like 70-30, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
30% no, 30% maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely would be exciting for the outside world, that would love to that especially, I said this yesterday about the media. The media would love it because it gives them something to talk about, and they have to talk Cowboys. Right now they're talking Cowboys with Mike McCarthy. They don't want to talk Kellen Moore or whoever else it might be. But if it's Deion, that's going to be fun for them. So, is he the best coach? I don't know. In college it's a different game a little bit. But then again, and I had a conversation with Derek Eagleton yesterday. He had a great point. Does he want to send the blitz on his son like twice a year? Because he's probably going to the Giants. I mean, you really want to go all out and get after Shador twice a year? I don't know if Deion's built that way. I don't know if a lot of people are built that way, So, all right, anything else, Carolina?
Yeah, last question, right? So, not Deion, who would be your next up prospect for coaching the Cowboys going forward? And I hope you have a good day. I'm happy I got in because I tried last week and the lines was ringing off the hook.
All right, man. That's great. Thank you, Carolina, as always. Appreciate that. I people think because I've brought it up a few times that I'm in this Kellen Moore, like fan club or something like that. I think he might be the leader in the clubhouse at the moment, but I understand that he doesn't get people excited, and because does he get the team excited? I mean, now winning games will get anybody excited, and I think if you look, around the league, and there are a few guys that are similar to him, and I don't know if Ben Johnson's that much different than him, anyways, as far as just demeanor and things like that. But the guy that and you might have to wait a little bit for it, but I'd be interested in Aaron Glenn. I really would. Aaron Glenn is a guy that I think he has some Tomlin in him. They played in the league. He's respected, but remember this, and I think I said this yesterday. He was a 5'8", 5'9" cornerback. You're not supposed to make it in the league for that long, and you're definitely not supposed to be a good corner. And he was. He was a really good player. He reminds me of Jordan Lewis. If you think about it, you're not big enough, right? Well, wrong. Watch this. That's kind of his whole career. And so that mentality that's inside of him to be that type of player for that long, just a guy that's like, you can throw a fade if you want. I'm going to go up and get it. I remember when he played here, he was a crafty veteran, good player. Won a game in week one opener against the Chargers. I remember that with an interception. I think that kind of mentality is exactly what Dan Campbell wants, and I think it's exactly what would be good for this generation of players, because they want to know, have you done it? I mean, has somebody on this staff done it? Yeah, I've done it. I've done it, and I've done it not too long ago, and I understand how to win right now. So there's a lot of things I like about that with Aaron Glenn. You talked about Deion. We'll talk about Deion later. I've got an interesting history, I guess you would say, and not really with Deion, but just from as far as me growing up as a fan with Deion. There was not a bigger Deion Sanders fan at all. But I don't really know how I feel sometimes about him and watching Colorado for 2 years. Sometimes I root for him. Sometimes I don't. It's just they're hard to watch sometimes. They're hard to root for because I want to. I want to root for him and Travis Hunter and Shedeur and all that. And then sometimes they just talk too much. And you're just like, all right, that's enough. So I don't really know what I feel about them, and I don't think I'm alone in that regard. All right, let's go to Brian in Kansas City.
Good morning, sir.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I don't know if I have a leading candidate. Aaron Glenn, I guess. I know people have said that the window on interviewing him is now closed, I guess, until the season's over or until their season's over.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So, and I don't know, he did a bunch from what I read. I don't know if he'll still be available. Just watching him on the sidelines, he's a fun guy to watch. He reminds me of exactly what you said in watching him as a player.
Right.
He's running up, he's moving up and down the sidelines and hollering and, he's just a dramatic guy to watch on the sidelines.
Right.
And you hope that would translate to the team.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you the funny one. This is not a real pick, but the funny one that I thought of was Drew Pearson. Remember the draft pick a couple of years back?
Yeah.
I thought, oh yeah, that's the guy I want for my head coach. Hut hut.
Yeah. Oh God.
He'd be out there motivating the guys. I don't know if he has any interest in coaching, but he'd be motivating if he gives a speech like that.
Yeah, I think he.
So,
I think he did coach. I think his first year out of the league, I think he was an assistant coach.
I didn't know that.
Now I'm starting to wonder. Maybe not. I think so. Maybe like 84. I don't know.
Wow. Huh. Ooh, well, I'm going to look that one up.
Yeah.
Hey, I do have a question for you this morning, though, not related to coaching. So I'm kind of, knowing that we have the number 12 pick, I'm kind of on board with, I'm hoping we trade back and pick up a low 2 or a high 3 just based off of how many free agents we have coming up, the state of the cap, and the fact that the Cowboys don't seem to, when you look at the other playoff teams, some of them have real high numbers to what they're paying to people that aren't on the team anymore. The Eagles are like $60 million. I don't know what the Broncos have to have a high number, knowing what they did with Wilson.
Right.
But that's not the Cowboy way. It's not what they've been doing. So if they want to stay on the draft and develop and get just one or two free agents each year that are contributors on the team, I would be on the trade back bandwagon and get your thoughts on that, man. And I'll hang up and listen to what you have to say.
All right, Brian. I think trade back is good if you're fine with, say you're at 12 and you want to go to 17 or something like that. If there's players on your board that you can live with, that you still think are worthy of that pick plus what you get, then yeah, I mean that makes sense. But you can't be wiped out. You can't be at 12 and go, well, we really only like two guys, and we're going back to 17, and then from there, what? You've got to have a plan, and I think that's when Jerry has done that, and the Cowboys have done that over the years. I think that has been the case. I think back to 2021 when they were sitting at 10, they got the two corners that they wanted, J.C. Horn and Patrick Surtain, were both gone. So then what? Well, you got Micah Parsons at 10, and they just worked the draft perfectly to say, all right, well, we know. I can't remember exactly how it went, but I mean, they knew that the Giants were going to trade up maybe, and with the Bears, I guess, or the Bears were going to trade up to get Justin Fields, and they knew the Eagles were going to take Devontae Smith. So that's when they made that trade. And I don't know if the Eagles told them they were taking Devontae Smith or told them they were taking an offensive player. I'm not sure how that went down, but either way, I think the Cowboys were fine going, all right, we're going to move two spots. We're going to get Micah Parsons, or we're going to get Slater, the offensive tackle for the Chargers, and be fine with it. So if you have options there to trade back and say, well, whatever it is, I think we're good. And that's not a bad strategy at all. So because they do need picks, and remember that they lost the fourth with Mingo. So, I could see that happening because 12, you can get a good player. I think you can get a good player at 15 or 16, 17. So if you can move back and pick up another third, you can turn that third, into a fourth and a fifth. Now that's kind of what you're trying to do, get your picks back. But let's see. That's one thing I think the Cowboys are pretty good at, is moving around in the draft. Let's go to Ali in Florida.
Good morning, Mr. Eidman.
How are you?
Pretty good, sir. I'm so happy I lost my bet to you because my breaking news didn't work out.
What was it? I forgot. What was it again?
It was, I told you that Mike McCarthy is going to stay and Al Harris is going to be a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I didn't think. Yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. Yeah.
So I lost the bet. So here it is. I just talked to Chris. I want to.
Oh, by the way, hold on. Darren Woodson responded to my text message. I texted him about his favorite animal.
Yeah.
He said a male lion.
Oh, I have plenty of those. That's done. I send it to you guys, then you can keep it just in case one way or the other. I got the most beautiful lion pictures ever. So It's in the work. That's done. So what I want to do, I want to reward the kids, Jacob and Chris's kid. Mm-hmm. So what I would do is, if you guys going bowling, I like to pick up the tab because I always want to pay my bet. Uh-huh. So just tell up Uncle Ali took care of it because it was so nice on the set. So having said that, my favorite coach, if I had the choice to get it, it would be Sean McVay. I know you, on that emergency podcast, you mentioned something.
Yeah.
Second round, I'm good with it. But at no circumstances, I want John Gruden in Cowboys coaching the staff because I live in Tampa. I know all the ins and outs. I've been around, but John Gruden is a good coach. I don't recall ever he developed any quarterback whatsoever. So John Gruden is a no for me. But I think Mike Zimmer and Sanders, they're working together in Jackson State as a consultant and in Colorado. I'm with you. It's going to be too much, a little bit of more media. But because of Jerry Jones, hey, I get Sanders. But my first choice is Sean McVay. And the draft pick 12, if Genti is not there, I would trade down a couple. And as far as question for you, this is my question. I'll put the team together. You, Chris, Rob, Captain Rob, Randy, Irene, and Dylan. So I'm going to go to one of your sponsors, SWBC, ask them for a $10 billion loan and see if I can purchase the Cowboys for all of you so you guys can run the show.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right.
Love you, brother.
All right, Ali. You know what? You should try to dream big. You know what I mean? You know, have some big wild dreams. You know, don't go small here. Like, you know, let's get $10 billion loans and let's buy the team for us. Appreciate that. We did go bowling not too long ago, like this last week for Chris's birthday. It was his birthday, and he was bowling like a birthday boy. He was doing pretty good. I was trying to get 100, but all right. Good stuff, Ali. A lot of stuff. I don't know why. Like, I don't know why I never even didn't even think about the Zimmer Deion angle. Not once. Not once have I even thought about that. With like Deion being here and maybe keeping Zimmer. I remember this though. I told this story just the other day, so that's why I'm surprised I didn't think of it. But in '99, the Cowboys played the Giants in Week 4, I believe, and they lost a close game, Monday Night Football. And Deion, and this is my first year with the team, and now that when I look back now, like I know I was definitely on the wrong bus, but you know I didn't know what I didn't know, and I'm sitting there and I'm up pretty like third or fourth row, and I remember Campo was there. Campo was the defensive coordinator in Gailey's staff. And it was well known that Campo was going to be a head coach. This was his last year. He was going to be a head coach somewhere. And Deion walks past him after the game and just says, "Don't take Zim with you, Camps. Wherever you're going, don't take Zim." And just kind of walk to the back. And I think that was kind of telling of, yes, everyone knows Campo's leaving. And, you know, that was Deion putting in a word for Zimmer to be the defensive coordinator here and not necessarily there. As it turned out, Campo became the head coach. Zimmer was the defense coordinator and stayed here, even past Campo with Parcells, which was interesting. All right, let's go to Jason in Maryland. Jason.
Hey, Nick. How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
Good. Long time, but first-time caller.
Here we go. Good to hear from you, man.
I've been getting Dallas Cowboys Weekly magazine since I was 5 years old with the color photos. And I watch and listen and read everything online. But, you know, this conversation really got me wanting to give you a buzz and talk about a few quick things and just kind of get your opinion on what I have to say.
Okay.
Let's really stop talking about coaches on our squad and their salaries. We all know Jerry could care less if it's 10, 15, 20 million a year as salaries, you know, for our guys. We kept Dan Quinn. The reality is we all know he'd pay $1 billion out of his own money to get another Super Bowl. It's really what he cares about is obviously the cap. In my opinion here, Nick, McCarthy would have taken a month-to-month contract, a year contract, or a 2-year contract. He wanted to stay in Dallas. The reason why he's gone is because between him and Stephen Jones and the powers that be, he didn't want to give up offensive play calling ability. That's my take. The offense last year started terrible with no run game and the whole running back by committee. The CD holdout was a mistake, and play calling was boring, not utilizing weapons such as Turpin, down the stretch in the field, etc. in my opinion, these are the keys for the future. First and foremost, retain Will. Keep Zim as our D coordinator because we can't have 3 defensive systems in 3 years and keep Mike and our D happy. That, again, just my take here, okay? Yeah. Get Dowdle because you need 2 running backs. Retain him and Hoffman, like the caller yesterday stated.
Yeah. And
we need some nastiness on our O&D line that plays with tenacity, which we are sorely missing. And and draft-wise, take Gentry. Let's take a hard look at Steele, and let's call a spade with Guyton. Guyton was a problem last year, and he got benched due to his, he's a rookie, but lack of strength, O-line. But when Hoffman came in, we got a little nastier. We got much better on the interior. We used to have fire and passion on the sidelines with guys like Irvin, Troy Aikman, and even my boy Eric Williams back in the day against Reggie White. We don't have that nastiness on our sideline. So with that being said, I'm all about for coaching. I'm all about I'd love a Witten. I'd love to retain Zimmer. And shoot, even if we can get Nick game day guys back, game day coaches or assistant coaches like a Michael Irvin, like a Sean Lee, like, one of these, like our old-time players, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
And in conclusion, I want to say, and you guys may already talked about it, but Jerry Jones on Landman, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal. So, anyways, love everything you do, Nick.
All right, Jason.
And appreciate you, and just wanted to throw all that out at you.
There you go. Well, I appreciate the call. I know it's your first time to call, so you had a lot on your mind. You've put a lot out there. I like it. Man, I'm going back to the first part of it about McCarthy and the play calling. That's probably it's either that and the combination of the money. You said that you don't think money's an issue. I think it is with Jerry. Jerry's just never paid the coaches that much. I mean, he just hasn't. There's been a lot of talk about how much money McCarthy was making last year. $4 million has been thrown around. It's really more like $8 million, and I think there's a website that has him at $4.5 million. But he was making about $8 million. Remember, because Garrett was making $6 million. So yeah, it was about $8 million for Mike. I think it did come down to that. I guess how could, like, if you bring back Mike, that's fine, but there's got to be something different. We got to change this thing. This isn't just about injuries. Everyone knows this is more than injuries. This is problems way before that. So got to fix some of that. And I think that play call, that had to be part of it. And if Mike didn't want to do that, then and he knows the situation. His agent's out there. He knows what they can probably get. Now, it'll be interesting to see what Mike ends up with and if he gets a job. There's a few out there, but there's a lot more candidates too. So we'll see if he gets the pick. Let's go to Zach in Atlanta.
Hey, what's up, Nick? How are you, buddy?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I told Beam happy birthday. It sounds like y'all celebrated and tore up the town.
Yeah.
Love to hear it. Maybe a Shirley Temple getting a little crazy. I told him he only turns 21 once, so he's a chili cheese dog.
He was rolling, man. He was rolling until I came in and jinxed him like a straight up no hitter in the 7th. It was like in the 8th frame. He was sitting at like 125, 130, and I was like, "Man, you're bowling a great game." Like you're really, he was like, "Shut up!" And then he didn't tank, but it wasn't the best.
He got the yips.
Yeah,
got the yips a little bit.
A little bit. I was like right over 100. It was awesome.
That's great. I'm glad y'all went out
with the rails up. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly. That's my bowling.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously McCarthy's out. I'm kind of excited about what's next because you think about the transition from Wade Phillips to Garrett. I mean, Jason Garrett was waiting in the wings. We had him forever. And then when it came to that contract, just kind of dissolving, I think the Cowboys only interviewed Marvin Lewis and then Mike McCarthy, and they went with McCarthy.
Something like that.
So I hope that this coaching search, this is a hope, right? I don't know how exhaustive they're going to be and if they're really going to knock on some new doors or, Kellen Moore's been thrown out there, different names associated with the Cowboys in the past that I'm not too excited about are on the table. But I would love to just turn over some new stones. And, Jerry's kind of got his back up against the wall because it sounds like they would have been okay bringing McCarthy back. And so now it's kind of like, all right, let's swim. Let's see what you're going to do, Jerry. And so it might be a circus hire. Let's roll with it. But I would love to see an Aaron Glenn. His name came up. Jason Witten with the right team around him. There's got to be a lot of components to support Witten. But just want a hard-nosed coach, man, a coach that wants to play football the way it's supposed to be played, running the ball and, being physical.
Yeah.
And so those are my thoughts. Shout out to McCarthy, though. I lived through the 8-8 Jason Garrett era. I think his career record with the Cowboys was 8-8. But the 3 straight 8-8 seasons, losing the last game of the season to each divisional opponent that afforded them the title, that sucks. We enjoyed 3 12-5 seasons with McCarthy, but it was the same result. And so I think it was the right move to move on, and we'll see where it goes. So all right. That's all I got for you, man.
All right. Sounds good.
Back against the wall. Let's see Jerry swim.
We'll see what happens.
Have a good one.
All right, you too. I think I think it's good to have respect for what Mike did. You want to be in the dance. That's what you want. You want to be there at the end. And for the most part, he had him there. He had him competing. Even on the years that they didn't make the playoffs, both those years, Dak got hurt and it was, just trying to play with backups and stuff. Again, there were other problems, but that didn't help the situation. And they fought every time. They definitely didn't roll over. So he's got that. And plus, those 12-5 teams were good. They were good. But that's the thing. Like, there's good teams in the playoffs here. When you look at the teams in the playoffs, the Eagles are good, the Lions are good. The Ravens and the Chiefs and the Bills. I mean, they're all good. Well, 3 of those teams I just mentioned aren't going to make it to the Super Bowl. And they're just not. And we know that. And you guys know that. But I'm just saying that that's where the Cowboys were. They were a good team. They were not good enough to go to that next level. And then he didn't, help take them there. The upset, the Green Bay game probably still haunts them. I mean, it seemed like it had a carryover. I didn't believe in that. I really didn't believe in carryovers from one year to another, but it's hard to argue against it when you think about how they lost that game and how they continued those trends of they didn't have a good start. They didn't stop the run very well. They couldn't run the ball at all, and they sucked at home. I mean, that's what it was. And so that game right there really did have a carryover. They're going to have to figure out how to fix that for sure. Let's go to Steve in New York before we take our break here.
What's up, pal?
How you doing?
All right, man. Hey, listen, that game you were at, the 99 game, that was the one on, the last play. They almost had the kick on. Oh, my God. I was watching on TV.
I was on the field thinking that they did score. I was on the field because I couldn't really see, and Deion had got a kick, because the Giants had kicked a field goal to take the lead 13-10 to win the game with 3 seconds, and they kicked off. And then, Cowboys were throwing it around, and Deion actually lateraled forward, but they got it and went for a touch, looked like a touchdown.
I think it was Kevin Mathis or somebody like that. But I'll tell you what, I was watching on TV.
I thought he scored.
Close.
Yeah, and his name. I think the guy that scored. You're right. It might have been Mathis. One of those guys there was Singor Mobley was in there scoring at the end. And what was really weird about that play, and it was all for not because everybody kind of knew that they threw the flag and all that, but they were still running around. But the kicker for the Giants might have been Brad DeLuiso. Tore his ACL trying to tackle the guy at the very end, in the end zone.
Oh, really?
Played it in count, and I think he was lost for the season.
Wow.
So a lot of weird stuff going on in that game there. But the Giants had this rookie punt returner named Tiki Barber that was really good, and he turned out okay.
Yeah, pretty good. Before the trivia, real quick, Aaron Glenn's the guy I want. I think they're going to get Kellen Moore. I'm just curious, though, if Glenn does get the job, who's calling plays? Then, where do you think they're going to go for that?
Yeah, you got me on that. It would be, it would be his show. I mean, he's gonna have to find somebody. I think that would work with Dak. I mean, that's not that hard. Dak's easy to work with, but I would just be speculating if I knew what Aaron Glenn's plan would be and his coaching, not his coaching tree, but where he's been and all the other stops.
Right.
I'm not sure. Sometimes what you look for is you look at the quarterback coaches, like the quarterback coach under Ben Johnson or something, if he doesn't go with Ben Johnson somewhere. So, things like that to elevate them to the offensive coordinator. But again, I would just be speculating. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. Real quick, my trivia, speaking of Aaron Glenn, 2005 Cowboys season opener. He intercepted a pass in the end zone to seal a win in San Diego. You know who he intercepted? I know you do.
Yeah, I like it because it was always Phillip Rivers, but I'm like, was it Breeze?
It was Drew Brees.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yep. So that was his last year because I know in 2006 he was definitely with the Saints and they beat the Cowboys in that game at home. But yeah, I guess I didn't realize that was Drew Brees. What a great game that was. I remember that was a fun game back and forth and good atmosphere. Always a good atmosphere going there because anytime you play the Chargers, they need the opponents to fill up the stadium. So too, and the Cowboys certainly did that, but. It was good.
And you know what, Nick? And about 8 days later, all of that just came apart because that was I just call it the Santana Moss game. I won't even get into it because I know you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that wasn't a fun one. All right, Steve, appreciate it.
Thanks for the time, man. Take care.
Yeah. 1 minute, you're in the media guide flipping through going, when's the last time the Cowboys had a shutout? They're up 13-0 here with 7 minutes to go. I don't remember the last time. And then touchdown to Moss, game's over, and might have been that changed Roy Williams' career with the Cowboys there forever. Right or wrong, but that's what happened. All right, let's take a break here on Cowboys Storyline. Be right back after this.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34-ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise. The Yeti French Press. Hot mix waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take your steak, cornbread, cobbers, pot pie, and potatoes next oval with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Altec Lansing has been perfecting sound since 1927, bringing you decades of audio excellence to elevate your Dallas Cowboys tailgate ritual. Equip your next pregame with the Sound Rover 180 with 6 hours of playtime, built-in microphone, multicolor light modes, and a rugged exterior that's built to last. Visit alteclansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off your Sound Rover 180. That's ALTECLANSING.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off. Altec Lansing, official audio partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
All right, welcome back here on Cowboys Storyline. I do want to throw this out there. This segment is presented by Yeti. The officially licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concession, and on Yeti.com. All right. I want to throw this part out there. I know we're talking a lot about Deion's name. As mentioned, Deion has not interviewed with the Cowboys. And so if people think that, and there's been some articles written, and this is not accurate. So Jerry calling Deion Sanders is not work for the Rooney Rule. That doesn't mean that, oh, okay, now he's good there. No, you have to do a sit down interview with him. And now maybe the Cowboys do that. I mean, maybe that happens, but I don't. You're not going to do that to Deion Sanders. I mean, and Deion's not going to let that happen. That's not what this is. I mean, that not at all. Remember, they couldn't officially have interviews until Wednesday when McCarthy's contract expired anyways. So that's not the case. Maybe the Cowboys will interview him, but Jerry didn't. In my opinion, Jerry didn't call him for that because that call doesn't do anything. That call is really like, hey, what are you thinking here? Is this something you would be interested in? And, it sounds like Deion is intrigued by it. But at the end of the day, I think what works for Deion, he's got the whole brand. Everything that he's doing is perfect in college. It may not be in Colorado forever, but, I just think it doesn't work the same in the NFL. And he knows that. He knows that. So you can kind of run the whole thing. And the reason why I say that different in college and pros, it's not about Jerry and being the GM and all that. That'd be any place. It's just that you kind of control what you're doing and you can still recruit. You can recruit because you are Coach Prime, as he calls himself. It's not so much the same. Yeah, you can recruit in free agency, but money's money. And in fact, in college, that's what's happening as well. There's probably a lot of people excited about when Deion calls, but I can promise you this, if Nebraska's given more money than Colorado, they're probably up there in Lincoln. That's just kind of the way that the college world is right now. All right, let's go to Irene in Falls Church, Virginia.
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
Yeah, this morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good.
Good. Okay, so I wrote notes so that I can try to do this efficiently. I want to talk about a few names, and I have one question for you.
Okay.
All right, so Deion, pros, he's built not one but two winning programs, right? He would definitely satisfy Jerry's need for media attention and ratings. Negative is that, he's pretty polarizing in that there are, even his son and some of his players kind of throw teammates under the bus. So I don't know what kind of culture he would be building in our locker room. It wouldn't be my favorite choice, but it might be the perfect mix of seriousness and entertainment. I don't think it's just entertainment with him. I do respect what he's done in college. Witten, he would definitely have the team studying film. He would not let any practice be lackluster. He's loyal to this team, to the organization, to the Jones family. Negative is, of course, the experience. It would make a lot more sense for him to come on in a lesser role, but my knee-jerk reaction was to hate the idea, and I don't think I'd hate it as much as I thought I would because I think he would put in the time and effort. There would be some bumps, some growing pains, but I believe that he would at least give it a good shot to make it work. McVay, first of all, I've meant to shout out Ali for the longest time. I have an uncle named Ali. Sounds just like him, so I smile every time he calls. And I'll second what he said. McVay would be the absolute best choice, even if you lose the draft pick. He has the experience, the innovation, and the leadership. Him running down the sidelines, he gets the guys going. Yeah. And Ali, I accept. I'd be honored to run the team alongside with my StoryLine signer family. That would be awesome. All right. My pressing question for you is this, and I think it will shape the entire coaching search. Jane Slater said that Jerry's on a solo mission making calls, reaching out to the coaching prospects. So I need to know, is the yacht fueled up? All right, that's it. Have a good one.
All right. They're not saying a lot. Jerry and Steven, being pretty quiet about this. So it's going to be fun. I mean, I don't love the coaching search, but we're here, and this is the way it's going to happen. Witten, I don't know. Here's what I hate about the Witten thing. If it doesn't work out, let's say it doesn't work out. Who right now that has followed the Cowboys for the last 20 years and further than that, of course. But, most people that are Cowboy fans here that definitely been around, you've seen Witten play, right? Who hates Jason Witten? Who doesn't like Witten in any way? I mean, he's like the favorite son, Go 8-9 in the first season, or whatever, 7-10, and maybe have a couple seasons like that. I always think of Patrick Ewing in Georgetown. Patrick Ewing, he was the greatest player in the history of Georgetown, and he goes to be the coach of their and they can't win a game, and he gets fired. I think Clyde Drexler got fired coaching University of Houston. Scott Frost at Nebraska went back home, didn't last long. Jason Garrett, you could say that here. I mean, who didn't like Jason Garrett? What a great story, all this. He's the head coach. Now, Garrett's got to go. So I just think about that. Can you imagine a time where Witten's name would be, it didn't work out. Jason, get rid of the Witten. I don't know. I don't know if that's just weird to me. And I guess that's a glass half empty approach. I mean, because it's just hard to win. It's just hard to win. And I just can't imagine a time where that would be, people would think that way. And, that's probably a lot what Will McClay's thinking right now, too. Everyone wants Will to be the GM or Jerry to lose that title. I talked to Will just the other day, and I kind of jokingly asked him, hey, you've been a coach before in Arena League. You want some of that? And he's like, no, I'm good there. And he even said, he's got a great situation there. They got to make sure and keep him. But let's keep rolling here. We got Travis in San Antonio who's been waiting a lot. Travis, what's up, man?
Nick, what are we doing ruining Beam's perfect game in bowling here?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Well,
Talk about a perfect game, ruin the no-no. What's going on here?
Okay, it wasn't a perfect game. I think he got an 8 or 9 in the first pin or 2 or whatever. But I tell you what, if you want to roll a 9, hand me the ball, okay? Because, every time I bowl with Beam, he calls me Romo because it doesn't matter. It could be 9, I don't pick it up. It could be an 8, I'll get 1. I'm going to get you a 9 all day long, and that puts you right at 100. So
hey, you're in that 90th percentile.
It's not good at bowling. What's up, man?
But, yeah. I just wanted to call, and there was a caller earlier talking about Aaron Glenn, and like I said, the other day I talked about Witten, and you talked about Deion real quick. I know I'm all over the place, but you talked about Deion. I'm kind of with you, ultimately, and I know you're the same way, I would support either one, the off-the-cuff guys, if it's Deion or Witten.
You're going to support Kellen Moore. Travis, you'll support Kellen Moore. You'll support anybody that you don't like. No, I'm just saying because that's what it is, the Cowboys. You'll just be behind it. You won't like it at first. So, yeah, you'll support all of them. But, sorry, go ahead with your point.
Yeah, I got you. But I was going to say, so you're not wrong about the Deion thing because, I'm kind of with you. I don't know if I want to add, to make it more of a circus, but maybe it would work out. Same thing with Witten. But I did want to throw something at you because I'm curious. So I found out that the league got rid of the rule, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they got rid of the rule, I guess, Nick, where if you're you can't make a lateral move, and if you're a team to keep a coach, you can do what they did with Al Harris, where they gave him the associate head coach position type of thing, the role.
Yeah.
But you no longer can take a guy as an OC, bring him in as an OC, and then give him that title. I guess that doesn't work anymore, or it's not allowed. But I bring that up because you guys were talking about Aaron Glenn and who would he bring in as a play caller. And I know you're talking about quarterback coaches, but there's a guy, the last guy, Kevin O'Connell was the guy that was in the OC role like Schottenheimer was with the Rams with McVay, but McVay was calling plays. And now it's Mike LaFleur, Matt LaFleur's brother. And that's a guy I would talk to. But it's a weird thing for them, Nick, and I don't know if the league has to change the rule because he's technically the OC like Schottenheimer is, right? But he's not actually calling plays. So wouldn't I guess I'm asking, like, should there be like it's a gray area type of thing, because it's like he's not calling plays, so could he like go somewhere else and call plays? I know he can't right now, but I think they should allow that.
Yeah,
that's my first thing.
I think title is the key there. I don't think it's about duties and responsibilities, because that gets really gray. There's probably a lot of play callers around the league that aren't even calling plays. You know, there's a lot of guys that are. That's the way Sean Payton was calling the plays with Parcells here. Parcells would be like, Barber up the middle here 3 times in a row. Barber up the middle. Well, okay, right. Who's calling the play then? I mean, Sean Payton may be calling the protection, but Bill just called the play. You know, so to say, well,
it's just
it's
just weird because O'Connell wants to call play, like he is calling plays in Minnesota, but like he didn't do it until he got the head coach position, which is, you know what I'm saying? It's just kind of weird.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But go ahead. Go ahead, Trey.
The last thing I was going to say, and I'll let you take it off air, is I was thinking of 2 more coaches that in the Witten vein that we were talking about. Like you mentioned Eberflus.
Yeah.
The other 2 guys that I would like to bring back in this fantasy world, if we're living in this world, would be like Colombo. I know Sean Lee has already been reported he doesn't want to coach, which I don't blame him. But like I would like to see like a Colombo, or for instance, get your thoughts on Tashard choices with Texas coaching running backs. So that would be an option too.
Yeah.
So just see what you thought there.
Yeah.
But have a great week.
All right, Travis, appreciate it. You know, Sark's names keeps coming up a little bit. Steve Sarkisian at Texas. I think he's, I don't know, I'm not going to say candidate, right now, but it's, intriguing. I'm sure, intriguing name. And that's the thing about the Cowboys with Jerry. Anybody can throw any name out there, and you can't dismiss it. You can't be like, no. Well, maybe. I mean, and he proved that 30 years ago when he got Barry Switzer off the couch. I mean, so everybody's kind of on the table as far as, well, I mean, would Jerry do that? Would he would he go to John Gruden or whatever? You don't know. That's part of it here. And Deion is in that mix and all that. So, all right, let's go to Ronnie in New Jersey. Ronnie.
Yes. Hey, Nick.
How are you doing?
How's it going?
Good.
Not too bad. I was listening to you, Nick, and listening about all the coaching, all the inquiring minds are going crazy now over what we want as a coach.
Uh-huh.
And man, and you said it, we said it a few times. The first thing I want is Will McClay. Like, we got to keep Will McClay above all. And is that like a deal breaker for him? I thought I know he's not, DGM, that's Jerry Jones's title, but hasn't he always been part of the decision maker as to where they should go as for head coach? Is that not always been a thing for him, or is this
what Will McClay getting to decide who the coach is?
Well, not basically his decision. I know it's like collaborated, but hasn't he always been part of that?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's probably been a part of it, but not. I don't know, and I don't know how much he's really a part of it. He might be more this year than before, because you want to have a working relationship. Like, Will McClay doesn't want there to be 4 or 5 different coaches every 2 or 3 years. He probably likes the fact that it's a stable situation as far as Jerry. Jerry believes in continuity, and while fans say, all right, this guy sucks, 8-8, fire him, where you start all over, and that's not easy to do in the whole organization here, for the whole building. That's not what people want to do. So I think Will's like, if they are making a move, I'd like to have a say in it, just so I can, or at least understand what kind of coach you're bringing in and what kind of players he wants, so they can get on the same page.
I do have a question for you. Like, I know Jerry Jones has always said that money has never everybody would be surprised how much money he will pay in order to win a Super Bowl. So wouldn't that be, there's no salary, like you said it, everybody said it, there's no salary cap into how much money you could pay coaches. So why not invest The players, yes, we have a few great players, but it's not like the team is over, talented. If you could make up in coaching talent, as in coaching, and get great coaching, why not overpay for great coaching? Like, why not pay for some great coaches that, they require more money, but hey, we're the number one franchise in the world, not in the country, in the world, as in money, in making money. So now, why not just pay into that coaching, whatever it takes, and to have great coaching? I love the idea of, if I could just say, I love the idea of Jason Witten, because Jason Witten and Gruden, either one, because of the aspect that they demand respect. Jason Witten wasn't one of those guys that you would never, ever say Jason Witten was like a soft person, soft player. But as a person, the guy demands respect, and as a player, definitely demanded respect because of the way he played and what he put into it. So I would love somebody like a Jason Witten. If it's not him, somebody like him in that aspect that would demand respect out of the whole organization, not just the players. I'd like to hear your opinion on that. Thanks for taking my call, Nick.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks, Ronnie, as always. That's a great question that you asked about Jared. Why not pay more for great coaches? But I mean, if you look at the list of great coaches, look at the list of salaries for coaches. I mean, the guys that are paying a lot aren't even great coaches. They haven't proven that. I mean, Dan Campbell this year. I mean, Dan Campbell's making like $11 million this year. Now, he was making it heading into the season. I think the opinion of Dan Campbell's changed a lot this year, and they've had a great season. And he does look like a really, really good coach. But when he signed that contract, he hadn't proven himself that much. Was it Michael McDonald? Is that his name in Seattle? He's making like $10 million a year. I mean, he just got there, and they didn't make the playoffs. So the point is that you can pay a lot, but you don't even know kind of what you're getting. And that's why I think, McCarthy was a steal for Jerry at around, $8 million? I mean, that was a steal. When you think about Sean Payton getting 18, I mean, why is Sean Payton getting 18? What's Sean Payton done? Well, he's won a Super Bowl. Won one Super Bowl with a Hall of Fame quarterback. And Drew Brees. Well, that's kind of what McCarthy did. Oh, no, sorry. That's exactly what McCarthy did. It's exactly what McCarthy did. So that's probably what McCarthy's agent's saying. This guy's making $18 million, a year, and you're paying my guy $8 million. He's be paid more than that, So, but I don't have the answer for that. I do not have the answer of why Jerry doesn't do that. I don't know. All right, let's go to Sheriff Lonnie. He's in Kansas. What's up, man?
Hello, Nick.
How you doing?
Oh, it's a little warmer today. It's going to get to a balmy 30. We had about 9 inches of snow last week, so it's been interesting. But
all right,
just a couple of things with Witten. I'm like you. He's probably not the right fit anyways, but I don't want to see him get thrown out the door.
I mean,
Witten was the guy.
Yeah.
He was the man there, and I'd hate to see his legacy go down in flames as a head coach for the Cowboys.
It's such a negative, way of thinking. You know what I mean? It's like saying, "Well, I don't want to go here because I might get hurt," or I don't want to go outside today. I might get hit by a bus. I mean, you can't think like that. But I'm just saying, it usually doesn't end perfectly. You know what I mean? It usually doesn't end where they host hoist the Super Bowl trophy and say, all right, I'm out. I'm in the sunset. John worked for John Elway. That's about it. It doesn't really work like that. And now John Elway is like when he like the GM of the Broncos, and they think differently about him. So that's another person to put on that list there as well. So
yeah, absolutely. But no, I'm a little excited and apprehensive of how this is going to go.
Yeah, sure.
I'm on the fence either way of which way to go with a coach. Do you get one that's been there, done that?
Right.
Or do you go with new, maybe something different, you got a team that's probably not going to be a lot better. Their record probably isn't going to be much more you can't expect than this year, regardless. It's going to take a lot of work. And so maybe getting somebody that's been there to kind of maybe fix it. But then again, who knows? I'm not a Kellen Moore fan myself.
I know. I get it. I mean, I understand that he doesn't, he wouldn't be like the most exciting hire. I understand that. So,
but you're only Jerry's only gonna pay so much.
Yeah,
that's all there is to it. And it's his dollar that you're playing on. So he's got that right.
Yeah.
And but still, hopefully, just whoever he gets will be somebody that brings a little bit of discipline to the team. McCarthy just the ball didn't bounce his way sometimes, and that's the way it is.
Yeah.
No, in the years he won,
Yeah.
You can get to the playoffs, but you got to have basically kind of that luck.
Yeah.
Things, the right guys don't get hurt, whatever. So, it is what it is. But just looking forward to
all right, sure.
I love watching all this stuff and all the names that get thrown out. It's kind of crazy. Deion, that'd be okay, but I don't see him leaving where he's at, because that'd be another one that his brand isn't going to come to Dallas. It's not about the brand in the NFL.
Yeah.
And he's got it made.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate the call. Thank you, Sheriff Lonnie in Kansas. Deion's brand, I think it would work anywhere. I don't think that would be the issue. I just think, Deion knows the list of the coaching salaries, and I'm sure he's going to want to be at the top or close to it, regardless of if he's, coached a game or not. And the thing about that is, if Deion is your head coach, you got to pair him up with offensive and defensive coordinators that have been around. And that's the same with Witten. Witten and Deion are very similar to this. And if Witten is the coach, there's going to be a lot of critics about that. And I think you guys know what I'm talking about. There'll be a lot of critics of why he got the opportunity to do this. You can make the same case for Deion. Both of these guys have been on the fast track when it comes to coaching. They've got the positions that they've had because they were great players, and they have the personality and the charisma and all that stuff. But they've both been on the fast track in their own way to get to this point. And but you can make the case. Jason Garrett, he did it kind of quickly. Dan Campbell. I mean, these guys weren't. They kind of got, and they should, and rightfully so. They played in the league and they earned it. Let's go to break real quick, because I got to get at the break. I know I got Rob on the line, but let me go to break real quick so we can talk a little bit.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
There is no I in Dallas. There is no I in Hart either. No I in Blue Star or in Lone Star for that matter. And there's no I in how about them Cowboys? Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. Football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks, home or away, we rally together. We cry together. And we always rally cry together, because there's definitely no I in Cowboys fans. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
to Cowboys Storyline.
The PBR World Finals are returning to AT&T Stadium in 2025. All starts on May 16th with Kid Rock's Rockin' Rodeo. Then on May 17th and 18th, the finalists compete in the 2025 PBR Championship. Let's rock and ride. Tickets on sale, SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing partner of AT&T Stadium. All right, PBR coming back to AT&T Stadium. All right, let's go to Rob in Vegas. Rob, what's up?
Hey, Nick, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Listening to everybody. I mean, what I hope fans realize, and more than the fans, Jerry needs to realize that it's a bigger uphill battle to win now than it was 5 years ago when he hired McCarthy. When McCarthy came in, the Eagles, Washington, Green Bay, Detroit were bad. Now they're better than you. So now you got to bring in a coach that is not learning on the job. Like, you know, I love Jason Witten as a player, but if you want to talk about a media circus, you hire a high school coach to coach the biggest name in sports. That would be ridiculous. I just think Jerry needs to change his attitude when looking at a coach. I don't want to be competitive. I want to win a Super Bowl. Those are two different coaches. To me, you want to be competitive, go hire Kellen Moore. He's Jason Garrett. He's Mike McCarthy. You'll pretty much be in the same boat. You'll have some success. You want to win a championship, maybe a John Gruden, who checks all the boxes that Jerry loves, Super Bowl winner, offensive-minded, quarterback guy. You could say what you want about Deion. Deion is what this team needs. Old school, tough. He walks in. I always talked about Bill Belichick. The reason why I wanted him is I need somebody to have enough cachet to make up for Jerry. Push Jerry out. You know, Jerry's not tough on the players. If he was, Zeke would have never been brought in or kept on the team. The guy that was in the shooting when he was in the car should have never been on the team. So I need a coach that's going to make up for the, you know, if mom is going to be soft, dad can't, or vice versa.
Right.
And Deion is to me, out of all these people, would be that. Deion would be hands-on with everything. And the biggest thing is Deion wouldn't come here to just be competitive. He's coming to win a Super Bowl. So he would push Jerry, I think, out of everybody to spend some money to go get these players. And if Jerry actually made that move and Deion accepted, that would just show me that maybe Jerry's changing his tune. Because you would have to know that going in, that Deion is not going to bow down to Jerry. So that's what I'm looking for. I would love an Aaron Glenn. I think he checks the boxes. I just don't know if maybe he's already got, you know, a hidden agreement, you know.
Yeah.
But that's why I like Deion. People are like, it's going to be a circus.
Of course.
It's going to be a circus.
Anybody.
Regardless.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, regardless.
Yeah.
But give me a guy that, you know, is got some. I like John Gruden because of that. I think John Gruden could push back on Jerry a little bit. That's all I'm looking for. Somebody needs to tell Jerry, the way you've been doing it, we can't do it. If we're going to beat the Eagles now, Washington, Green Bay, Detroit, they're above us right now. We need to play catch-up. The draft does not do that. Draft and development does it. If you just look at Mozzie and Guyton, they're probably never going to develop to where you need them to be. So, no, this team doesn't need to rebuild. It needs to reload. You don't rebuild with a $240 million quarterback. You just don't. And if you are, then you made a mistake.
All right, Rob. Good stuff. You know, the Deion part, I'm not going to be convinced right now. I think Rob's trying, you know, or not trying to convince people, but like, you know, I'm listening to it like that's fine. But the thing is, it would be so different than anything you've ever had because And again, if you guys knew how much I loved Deion Sanders growing up, I thought he was my favorite player, and he didn't even play for the Cowboys until he did, and then I lost my mind. And I had in college, we had like a shrine for Deion Sanders. He was like my favorite player. And then 3 or 4 years later, I'm working for the Cowboys, and he's there, and I'm covering him. And it was a unique situation, but I loved him as a player. The difference is we've never seen a coach that, puts it kind of about himself, and it's always about the players. And Deion, now he'll say that, but it's a lot about him as well. I mean, it would be a lot about him, but sometimes you can look at that and say that, put it all on me. That's what Jimmy did at times. He made the predictions, he put it on himself and let the players go back it up. So there's two ways to kind of look at it that way. I don't know. We'll see. We may be doing a lot of talk about this for nothing for Deion, but still, certainly a lot of fun. All right, let's go. We got 2 more callers here. Let's go, Robbie in Cocoa Beach, Florida.
What's up, bud? How's your new season going?
It's going great. Talking about 17 coaches that aren't going to be here, but there's one that will. We don't know who it is, but there's one.
Well, there's going to be more than one. There'll be like 35 of them, only one head coach.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Coordinators.
Right.
Right, all the other ones. Quality control, et cetera, et cetera. So I talked about it last season. I'll talk about it again. I don't really care who we get as a coach. I was down with McCarthy. I wanted him to stay because I like consistency. And I think he could have done good things, but that ship has sailed, so we move on because we're Cowboys fans and we hope for the best. That being said, I'd like to see somebody, maybe Zim, stay as or DC. Still like to see a 3-4 man. What do you think the chances are of that happening? Maybe. I think Micah would be so good in it. I think it would just accentuate all the things that Micah Parsons is so good at, because we could put him in 3 different spots to rush, 5 different spots to rush. Nobody'd know where he's coming if he's not. It just makes my mouth water thinking about how good of a defense we'd have.
God,
on that vein, though,
Overshown. Man, the Overshown injury.
Yeah.
That's just.
I know that hurt. That hurt a lot, didn't it?
Yeah. Hopefully he can get back soon. But man, just him and Micah together, just so exciting.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly.
But we'll see. He's not done.
I will totally agree with what you've been preaching, man. We spent money so far on CD and Dak. We need to have a head coach that's offensive-minded. I want to see us putting up 40 burgers this year and make the defense just go, hey, look, all we got to do is get a few picks or a couple sacks, and we win the game.
Yeah.
And then maybe that's what feeds into our game plan to make us win. If we can get up by 10 or 15 points in the beginning of the first half, first quarter, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see us be explosive again, because we were a dominant team for a while when we were that. Even with Tony, back with Jason Garrett and stuff, we were awesome for a while there too.
Right. Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I think they have talent here. The 12th pick's pretty good. Player you can get in to contribute right away. But he's got to be able to do that.
I hope they get that running back.
You got to have a guy that helps you win week 1 of the season. Week 1, he's the starter and he helps you win. You got to get that player. And I don't care what position that is, really. There could be 7 positions. I get the most ready football player to plug right in and start and help you get better right now.
All right, let me throw a wrench in your gears.
Okay.
If you only had to pick one position, which position would you want the most? And I agree with you, what you just said. Best player available, and we've got so many positions: wide receiver, guard, tackle, defensive line, cornerback, linebacker, maybe not as much, but depending on injuries. Running back for sure. I mean, we need everything.
Yeah.
So what would be your number 1 pick if you could say this is the pick that we need? What guy? What position? Excuse me.
Well, I mean, if it comes down to, I like the running back, and I also like a pass rusher, and I feel like there's some pass rushers there in that area. If there's a pass rusher that can come right in and he's opposite Micah Parsons, I'd take him. I'd take the pass rusher, and then I'd take the running back, and you could maybe sell me on You could sell me on the tackle. That was a great college tackle that has to move to guard. That's what Zach Martin did. I think the guy in Texas is going to have to do that. You could maybe sell me on that. But whoever it is, come right in and be able to play week 1.
And start day one, right?
Right now. No doubt about it. So,
all right, Nick, I know you got other calls, man.
Thanks.
We'll talk to you soon, my friend.
All right, appreciate it. All right, this will probably be our last one. What a great one to end it on. Dylan in Northport, Florida. Dylan, what's up?
Hey, man. How you doing?
Good. You?
Good. I'm going to put my prediction in for the coach right now today before Jerry even does any interviews or anything. I think when the Lions beat the Eagles in the conference championship game, I think Kellen Moore shortly thereafter will be the head coach. It just makes too much sense. He's malleable, which is agreeable with Jerry's style. He's been here before, so Jerry loves the homegrown guy, and he can say, see, I knew he was a good coach all along. I told you so. That's my bet, man. I think that just makes the most sense.
That's a factor. Like what you said is a factor. Handpicked, that kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean, go for it. Yeah.
It's a weird dynamic, though. I don't like the pick. I think it's what it's going to be. It's a weird dynamic because he was behind Dak on the roster. You know, Dak was his leader, and now he's got to show up and now be the main leader of the team. I don't like that. I know I called yesterday and I said I want like a badass guy who is going to put the fear of God a little bit into some people and demand some respect. I don't think Kellen's that guy. So, yeah, I don't love it, but I think that's what it's going to be. And then just a real quick question, man. You said last Wednesday on my call that, you know, Mike might have done a bit better than what we know from kind of the public eye, and it made it sound like maybe there was some drama behind the scenes, that he was kind of the glue that kept the team together. Is that true, or am I kind of reading too far into that statement you made last week?
Say that again? Which part? Which statement?
You said that Mike McCarthy might have been better than we understand from the public point of view because not everything was kind of out in the public eye. We only know so much. So it made me think that maybe there was some drama behind the scenes with Mike McCarthy that we just didn't know about, that maybe you knew about. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. And if that's not the case, then obviously just let us know. But
yeah, I don't really – I'd have to go back and listen to what I say. I say stuff all the time, but I know that there's stuff behind the scenes we don't know about. And so I can't – there's no story that I'm sitting here going, if you only knew this. Okay. No. It's not that. I mean, sure, there's some behind-the-scene things. I mean, I've heard a lot of stuff. I've heard stuff that, you know, McCarthy, you know, but McCarthy got more of his way than people think. And so there's a lot of people in the building that thought it's probably time for a new voice. You know, it's time here. The narrative here is that, and I think Rob alluded to it as well, is that, yes, there were a lot of wins. This team could beat the average to below average teams, and they did that well, and there's something to be said for that. But they weren't on the level with the teams that were better. And when it came down to fighting and playing, like here at a big game or playoffs, of course, they weren't good enough for that. So, and we all saw it. You guys saw it. You guys know that. And you know, when he was here, the Giants and Washington and then Philly was okay. And that's about 5 wins a year. You split with Philly, you sweep the other 2, you're getting 5 wins right off the bat. And that's not the case anymore with this division.
Yeah, no, we're in a tough spot moving forward. We got a lot of holes to fill on the team. I think this is an attractive position because you have some core players.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I think there's some desirable other locations that are going to be available that might be a little bit better than Dallas. You know, a new head coach coming in, maybe get his way. And you just said Mike McCarthy got his way more than maybe we understand here. But there is that aspect where it's like Jerry really is hands-on, you know, and I don't know if a lot of especially new head coaches like a Ben Johnson are necessarily going to want to have a micromanager like that. So
yeah, I don't know if the micromanager is the right word. I really don't think that's the case.
At least that's the perception that's out there. I'll say that.
Yeah, and that perception's been there. I mean, the perception is that Jerry's calling the plays. You know, I mean, that's always been the perception and all that. You know, there are some decisions that I'm sure Mike McCarthy wish he could have made that didn't. You know, and when it comes to the draft, I mean, I know there were some players. I know firsthand there was a couple of players he didn't want that were picked. You know, in front of him, and you know, Jerry made those picks. I can think of 3 offhand. 2 of them not so great. One of them was really good. So you know, that's kind of the way it goes. But that's always going to be the case. I mean, you can get five 5 people in a room together to pick the next guy, they're going to want different players. I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Nick. Well, I appreciate it, man. Have a good rest of the week.
Appreciate it. You too, guys. Great show. Great show for sure. 13 callers and got a first-time caller. Got to hear from the sheriff there in Kansas and a lot of the regulars that call all the time and really make this show what it is. As you can hear, I'm not really 100% today. I'm fighting through it though, and it was great to be on with you guys today. And I hate that it's once a week, but that's where we are, and it's we need a little break in the action, and we got podcasts going, just about 2 to 3 podcasts going every day, Monday through Thursday. And then we'll turn it up again next week. So that's our day. This is our time slot, 9:30 Central to about 10:45. Go about an hour and 15 minutes, get all these calls in. Do it every Wednesday. We'll be back next Wednesday as well. I'm sure there'll be a lot more news to talk about then. So for Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. See you next week.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?